Okay. Jill, if I disappear, I've got my food will be delivered sometime. They want me to pay them for some reason. So,
Oh,
yeah,
Imagine that.
darn it.
I will be back.
No problem, Maggie. No problem at all.
Jill, yesterday you were talking about the advantages of pierced breathing.
Right.
Yep,
Could you repeat that for me?
absolutely. Yeah, because that's always a good reminder for us.
Mhm.
When we breathe out through pursed lips,
Yeah.
like you're breathing out through a straw.
Mhm.
For those of you with COPD, that helps splint open your airways so
Okay.
that more air exits out of your lungs. So
Okay.
getting less trapped air. When we get that trapped air, that can cause that shortness of breath or that breathlessness.
Mhm.
And we're limiting how much air we can take back in because some of that space in our lungs is already being taken up by that trapped air.
Okay.
And then from a recovery standpoint, it helps reduce the activation of your central nervous system, which helps you lower your heart rate. It helps control your breathing, and it puts you in more of that resting state, which is good.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course, of course, of course. All right, team. Quick reminders. Remember to put yourself on mute, please, before or just as any noise on your end occurs, so we can limit distractions. Please try to keep just a lot of the jokes and socializing until rest time and stretching time, so that we can just keep focused and get the most amount out of our exercises that we can, as much as I love to hear from you. And making sure that the space around you is clear of anything that you could step on or trip over. You may need your inhaler close by. That's something, you know, with all those pollen in the air, like we talked about yesterday, you might need an extra dose of your bronchodilator. And then everybody practice with me. Just put your hands or elbows on your thighs and we're slightly bent forward, chest up. That is your recovery position. And from your recovery position, let's just go over that recovery breathing, which is breathing in and out through pursed lips. And again, breathe in, out through pursed lips. Once more, in, out through pursed lips. And slowly come out of that recovery position. All right, excellent. You will need your weight if you've got one and a resistance band if you've got one today. And let's just start with making circles with our arms. Remember, it is your choice whether you want to be seated or standing. If you want to start seated and later transition to standing. The intensity you choose today is all up to you. Ask yourself, what is my energy like today? And what is my level of breathlessness today? Try to maintain that steady breathing pattern and switch directions of that circle. If you're feeling really good, you can start getting into slightly larger circles. And let's get both arms moving the same direction. Which is something we're less used to.
That's right.
And change directions. There we go. Now, as we're making circles with those arms, let's start lifting up our heels and down, lift up the heels and down. Now keep your feet moving, and I want one arm about shoulder level and one arm about waist level and they're both going to make little circles, but at different heights. And if you can, try to keep those feet moving. And change directions.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. And switch heights.
No, for
There we go, team. And switch directions. Yeah, it's a different one. That's for darn sure. Our bodies like symmetry. They like things to be going same rhythm. Same height. All right, kind of shake those arms out. Now I just want you tapping one heel forward at a time. So extend that leg out in front of you to touch and bring it back. Extend one foot out, touch, bring it back. Make sure you're finding a pace, a warm-up pace, okay? Now, on the same line of circles at different heights, we're not done as much as you hope to be. So again, one arm out to the side at shoulder height and one down low by your waist, and we're making circles. I love it when I can bring you fresh, fun things to try out.
Where do you get all these things from?
Oh, so a brain is a wonderful thing.
The internet.
There's enough chaos in there. Switch directions.
probably bad drugs.
Now try to keep those feet moving if you can, and we're changing heights.
Oh, frick.
Good. Do your best to keep your feet moving, but remember, the more body parts moving at a time needs more energy, which means more oxygen being used. Change direction of those hands. That looks so
The tops of my arms are getting really sore. Is that normal?
the tops.
Like the top of my shoulder and my arm.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's normal. And if that's starting to get into your neck or shoulders, lower them both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the higher up they are, the more those shoulder muscles have to work. Rest there. There we go. All right, so now I want one arm opening out and across. And again, the lower that arm is, the less strain there is on that shoulder muscle. And this time I want you pointing your toes. So stretch your toes to touch out in front of you. Okay, so stretch out in front of you as you swing open that arm. All right, now you might be wondering, well, what does the other arm do?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Swing forwards and backwards.
Oh, God. You gotta be kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
It's not so hard.
Just remember, not for my own amusement, this is for your benefit.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been drinking a lot of caffeine again?
I think she switched to
that's
wine.
Funny, because that did happen today. And switch arms. So now your other arm is swinging forward and back. Try to keep your feet moving if you can. And that other arm is opening to the side and back. Good. And while your brain is working hard to do all these strange movements, still focus on that breathing pattern. Here we go, team. Keep up that breathing. And rest. Excellent job. All right, now what we're going to do is take your foot, and I want you drawing circles with the bottom of one foot. So again, you can do this seated or standing. Remember, the greater the range of motion, the more oxygen is needed. So do what feels best for you. But we're just drawing a circle with our foot.
Are we hovering?
Hovering?
Are we hovering or dragging our foot on the ground?
Depends on your floor's surface. Instead of keeping it up in the air, which especially if you're seated, might make your hip flexor quite sore, I would kind of touch your foot in a circle. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So if your flooring doesn't allow you to kind of slide that foot, I would just kind of keep poking spots in the floor to draw a circle. Okay, now switch direction, actually switch legs. Let's give that leg a little bit of a rest. Now, if you're feeling really good with that, I also want you pushing and pulling your hands forwards and back. And remember, this kind of movement, circles for your hip, is great for building that strength in the hip. It doesn't often get to move like that. It's used to going forwards and backwards in a walking stride, but it's not necessarily used to that kind of in and out movement, that circular movement. All right, and keep your arms moving, switch legs. This time, we're doing the opposite direction. And if you're going, I don't remember what direction I was going first, well, whatever way you kind of wanted to automatically go, you should do the opposite of that. Now remember to maintain that breathing pattern. Keep trying to breathe out through pursed lips. And switch feet. Again, whatever circular direction your leg wanted to automatically go into, do the opposite of that. Keep breathing out through pursed lips.
Glad no one can see this.
And rest. Good work, team. Now, if you feel comfortable standing, I would like you to stand right now and make sure you have some balance support. And all I'm going to get you to do, and there's two ways to do this, and if you're seated, just stay seated. Remember, you can lift up one leg if that's comfortable for you to add to that challenge. You can sit on a pillow. But we're going to put your hands across your chest. And I want you to just slowly turn as far as you feel comfortable. Go slow, just to where you feel comfortable. It's challenging, and then turn back, and then turn the other way. So again, if you're standing, try to have your feet a little bit close together. Find that challenging yet doable range. I'll squat a little bit so you can see me, and turn and back, and then turn. Slow and controlled, and back. While you're standing, if that feels too easy, I encourage you to put one foot in front of the other slightly, but be careful because we're not used to turning. And you want to be cautious that you don't end up feeling dizzy. And if you do feel dizzy, don't turn your head. Keep your eyes locked on one object. Turning your whole head is harder on your balance, but again, find that balance between challenging and doable. And if you've got one foot in front of the other, I would switch now. Good, so either standing or seated. And rest. Awesome job, gang. So that's a really good piece of balance to practice, because if your eyes are tracking, it's a lot harder to balance without your eyes being used to focus on one spot. Some of you need that to prevent being dizzy. but still that being stable and balanced while rotating is still really, really good for you. Because we spend so much time moving forwards, it's good to practice those other directions. Okay, so that being said, take your leg, and I want you stepping 1 foot out, and if you're staying seated, let the other follow as far as it can, back to center, and then up and out to the other side. And if you are standing, it looks like this. Step to the side, 1, 2, step to the side, 1, 2, and then out to the other side. So you've got your kind of middle, side, middle, side, middle, side, middle, side. And anytime I get people moving sideways and sometimes even backwards, what I encourage you to do is not to be up tall. I encourage you to be a little bit knees bent, a little bit forward, so that can help you keep that stability. Okay, and again, if you are seated, if that's what feels best for you today, it's step up to the side and then back to the middle, and up and over to the other side, and then back to the middle. Up and over to the side, and back to the middle. Up and over to the side, back to the middle. And maintain that breathing pattern. There we go, team. All right, and rest there. Now, if you're seated, I want your feet slightly ahead of you. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just step back, 1 foot back and then forward at a time. Remember, a couple of you need to be careful about how deeply you bend that knee, because I know a couple of you have a Baker cyst. And so that's why I get your feet in front of you so that when you bring it back, it's actually only to that 90 degrees, right? If I turn sideways, that foot's out, so it gets to here. But if you feel comfortable getting that foot back more without any pain or discomfort, that's awesome. You do that. And if you're standing, I just want you tapping 1 foot back at a time. And again, you've got that balance support close by if you need it. Just tapping 1 foot back. Everyone feeling okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is everyone starting to feel warm?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, good, because we've got some intervals coming up pretty quick here. There we go. We're gonna go for just a couple more seconds. Do whatever you can. Remember, you don't want to go past that kind of 5, 6, and pushing it out of 10 on your level of breathlessness. And that 10 out of 10 is you can't breathe. So it's okay for you to have to be breathing a bit faster, a bit heavily. Okay, but you should still be able to take that full breath. All right, and rest. Okay, gang, so we're gonna work our way into challenging that breathlessness a little bit. And it's kind of tailing off of yesterday's topic. So I want you to remember, there's those couple of different ways that you can increase and decrease intensity. So the more range of motion you use, the faster you move. If you use resistance, okay. Boy, what's the other one we normally talk about? A number of body parts. Those are all ways to increase or decrease intensity, and meaning the more oxygen you need, okay? So start marching. And again, if you need to back off a little bit, well, less body parts. So either just the arms or just the legs are moving, okay? You can be standing or seated. All right, and our goal is to go for 30 seconds to a minute, and then we'll have 30 seconds of rest. Okay, so I want you finding your challenging level. That was 30 seconds, so if you need a longer rest, go for it. But again, our goal is, can you go the full minute before you start to push that intensity, okay? So your first goal is, can I keep moving for that full minute? Once you achieve that, then your goal is, can I pick up the intensity for that minute? 3, 2, and 1. So feel free to get into that recovery position. And the goal is to feel like that minute was challenging. So if you're kind of going, oh, I could have kept going, then that's a sign that maybe you need to push a little bit harder while still being able to take in that full breath. Each exercise we're going to do twice. So we're starting in 3, 2, and marching again. So again, that first minute, if you didn't feel tired at all or at all puffed, you should push a little bit harder here. Making sure you don't feel dizzy or shaky or like you can only take in half a breath. Those are signs that you need to just rest and focus on your recovery breathing. There we go, team. So that was 30 seconds. Focus on that recovery breathing, breathing out through pursed lips. As the harder we push, the more likely we are to get that air trapping unless we're working hard to push it out. 10 seconds. 3, 2, and rest. Excellent job, gang. Well done. So you can go into that recovery position, seated or standing. Work to get control of that breathing again. All right, and for our next interval, we're going to bring in reaching up and touching your leg out to the side and bringing it back in. If reaching that up is sore on the shoulder or neck, just reach across. Okay, and go. If you need a longer rest, that's okay. And if you're standing, it looks like this. Remember, there's those different ways to make it more intense. And that was 30 seconds. So the further you reach those limbs, the more oxygen you'll need. If you're holding, very light weights in your hands, that'll increase the intensity, increase how much resistance you need. And that was a minute. Get into that recovery, breathing. Breathing out through pursed lips. And again, if when I say, okay, rest time is done, if you haven't quite recovered yet, take a couple extra seconds and join in when your body feels ready. And go.
Same thing.
Remember that goal first is, can I work towards moving for that full minute? And once that's been achieved, then you can start trying to increase the intensity for that minute. And it should be challenging yet doable. Maintain that breathing, gang. Last couple of seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Make sure you're working to catch that breath. Again, when we do intervals, there is a higher chance of getting trapped unless we're really focused on that breathing pattern. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be shadow boxing. So punching that air in front of you, seated or standing. Ready, 3, 2, and boxers, go. Maybe some of you like those uppercuts, the jab. Feel free to mix it up, fast and furious.
Good thing I'm not punching anybody.
Right, you would knock them out.
Nah.
That's 30 seconds. Keep up that breathing, gang. Remember, you should still be able to take that full breath. And again, if extending that arm is sore, that's where the uppercuts are pretty helpful. And that was a minute. Get into that recovery. And again, kind of monitoring your intensity. You should be glad to have a rest. Take accountability for how you feel. If you need a little bit longer to rest, keep resting. And the rest of you, you've got once more. Let's go. Great job, team. So you'll notice, gang, except for this exercise, the rest of the exercises have involved both the arms and the legs. So if you're needing to adjust the intensity today, if we're doing the exercise twice, maybe the first time you work just the lower body and the second time you work just the upper body. So then those muscles are getting a bit more of a rest. If you're finding the full body movement a little bit too much for the full minute. And you've got 10 seconds left. Remember, the goal is, can we work towards trying to keep moving for a full minute? 3, 2, and rest. There we go, team. So keep taking that recovery breath. You guys are doing excellent. And remember, you're in charge of your intensity and how long you rest for. Make sure you actually get recovered. Because just like we talked about yesterday, your respiratory or your breathing muscles can get tired too. They also need a rest so that they can keep working to help you breathe in and help you breathe out. Now, the next exercise is going to be our sit to stands for 1 minute. Now, again, different levels of intensity. Maybe you only get partially up and down. Maybe you go slow and have that bit of a rest when you're standing or sitting. And for those of you that don't feel comfortable standing today, which is all good, I want you just tapping your feet out to the side, okay? Or stepping out in front, whatever feels best. Now that was a nice long rest, so we should be good to go in 3, 2, and go. Make sure you're in control of the movement. You have a minute. You're in charge of the intensity. And because getting up out of your chair initially is actually the hardest part, that deep range of motion takes the most energy to get up. You can modify the intensity by starting from a standing position and just bending your knees part way and then coming back up. That's a good way to adjust that intensity versus going all the way down to the chair and up. Now remember to choose what is best for you. We've got 10 seconds. I know. Boy, oh boy. And rest. And I apologize for not giving you the halfway mark there. Some of you are relying on that. I'll remember for the next one. So rest, focus on that breathing. Well done, team. Everyone still able to take that full breath?
Yep.
Good. So that was about 5 of you out of 30 to 35. The best statistics I've ever had. All right, 3, 2, and go. So remember, you're either stepping your feet if you are staying seated, or you are resting for a little bit longer, or you're standing up and sitting down, or maybe you're doing just partial squats. So from a standing position, bend the knees slightly and up. This is actually lower intensity than trying to sit all the way down and stand up. So that was 30 seconds. So that is the halfway mark. Some of you may notice that your toes are gripping the ground and your glutes are tightening up to get you up. That's awesome. 3, 2, and rest. Boy, oh boy, gang. Woohoo! Ivy, you're doing great.
You're a good teacher.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a great class.
This is the hardest.
Yeah, those sit to stands are hard, Carmen.
I find little difference between them and squats.
You find them about the same?
I find, yeah, a little difference. You use the same muscles, same everything.
Yes. Yeah. Squats, just you can adjust how low you go. And the lower you go in a squat, so from a sit to stand, right, when you're sitting, your knees are at 90 degrees. That's kind of a deep squat. So it takes more energy to get you up and out of your chair, right? So that's kind of squatting down to that 90 versus just squatting part way.
Yeah.
That is a little bit easier than that really deep squat. Although with the chair, you can kind of get part way and then just.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it kind of depends how much you're plotting. But again, it's all about building up that strength. That will come. Okay. Now, team, you need your resistance band. And we're getting close to the end of the intervals. You guys are doing wonderful. Now, take the band, put it around your back. Now, this one's a little bit different than what we normally do. We're going to have our arms. So you got 2 options here. It depends on your shoulders. If your shoulders feel great, Your arms are wide and we're gonna pull them out in front and then back. Okay, if that doesn't feel good on your shoulder, then I want you just to bring your arms in towards you and push them straight out. Okay, that'll be less strain on the shoulder. But we're starting in 3, 2, and go. And again, if you have questions about the exercise, please feel free to ask. I am super, super happy to answer. Maintain that breathing pattern, gang. Breathing out through pursed lips. And those shoulders might get a bit tired. This is using smaller muscle groups. Halfway. And if you reach the halfway and go, boy, my shoulders are toast, maybe this is where you kind of just push forwards and back. All right, because remember the goal is just to find a way that you can keep moving for the full minute. You're just about there, gang. 3, 2, and rest. Whew. Boy, those arms are getting tired.
Yes.
Don't worry, we're going to get into some slower strength after this. Everyone's doing great?
Yep.
Or feeling as great as you look?
Lottery will get you everywhere.
Oh, geez. And go. Remember, this is the last one. So keep up that breathing, gang. Find something that is challenging yet doable for you. Maybe the intensity is just moving the arms without weight. That's great. Oh, I may have lost track of where we started. We were past the halfway mark.
Good.
Yes. Yeah, you got about 10 seconds left, team. Keep up that breathing pattern. Super, super important that we're breathing out through pursed lips, not letting air get trapped. And rest. Whew. Well done, everybody. That was awesome. Okay. Now, just put the band to the side. And we're just going to do one last one, focusing on the legs, and then we're going to slow it down. Now, stretch one leg out in front of you. If you've got a sore back, I want this outstretched leg to actually stay slightly bent. Okay. Now, the goal is, can we actually hold that leg up and press your foot out and in? Now, again, sore backs mean you do not fully extend, so it's a smaller range, because fully extending is a longer lever pulling on that back. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, perfect. So holding that leg up, and 3, 2, and kick. And we're going to be switching at the 30-second mark. So make sure you're staying in control, staying up tall. Good, and find an intensity that's challenging for you. If you want to get your arms moving too, you're welcome to. If that hip starts cramping, slide the leg instead, okay? That is halfway switch. Boy, we did our punching practice and now we're doing our kicking practice. What am I teaching you?
Top Sudi.
This is very cathartic, guys. Get your frustrations out. 3, 2, and rest. So again, if that didn't quite feel challenging enough, maybe you want to take the resistance band and push down against the band instead. Maybe you want to get your arms moving as well. And if you're going, how can I make that challenging from a standing position? Well, holding on to that balance support, let's get you just swinging that leg forwards and back. But again, hold on to balance. Ready and go. Kick, kick, kick. Stay up tall and keep breathing out through pursed lips. Three, 2, and change legs. Okay, keep up that breathing. Three, 2, and rest. How is everybody feeling?
Okay.
Good.
Oh, good, and that's kind of my breathing check as well. If you're able to answer me, then you are still breathing. How wonderful. Just what I want.
That was very tiring, very tiring.
Oh yeah, well your muscle has to work the whole time.
Yeah.
It doesn't get a rest. And some of you may be wondering if you weren't able to make it yesterday,
Yeah.
and you might be wondering, well, why is she working us so hard? It's because we ended up talking for so long. We had a very short window of exercise.
It was good though.
That's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I mean, you got the heart rate up. That's what the plan was.
Thank you very much.
Oh, of course, of course, of course. All right, team. So now what I want you to do, and this is where we start to slow it down. So your lungs get a little, your heart and lungs get a little bit of a rest, but we're still going to work the muscles. And we've done this one before. You're just going to take the band and wrap it around your thighs. So it comes from the bottom up down. And then you're welcome to just kind of hold on top or press your hands down. All right, and we're going to go for a minute and we're going to do it slow and controlled. So we're focusing more on strength now. So remember, tighten your glutes, kind of like you're trying to crush a walnut between your bum cheeks. And that's going to pull the knees out slightly. Make sure you're not actively trying to pull them out far, because that can just tug on your back. You really just want to make sure those glute muscles do it. So tighten that glute, those glutes. The knees should pull out and then come back in. Tighten the glutes to pull the knees out and come back in. Now, when we talk about, the brain communicating to our muscles to get certain muscles activated, this exercise becomes more challenging the more you focus on clenching those glutes. And again, it's always sounds so funny, but that's why it's actually really helpful to think about things like, trying to crush a walnut, or whatever works best for you, because it really gets those muscles working.
Or hang on to the $100 bill.
That's right. Someone's trying to steal that $100 bill, and you gotta hold on to it.
There's a lot of people wandering around without pants.
It's a funny place to hold a bill.
Absolutely.
There was a shortage of toilet paper, wasn't there?
Well, it depends on what version you got.
Maybe that's why they call it a brown back.
And
Sorry, Jill.
you should be after that.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna do one more set, gang. If you feel like you didn't need to rest, you could have kept going. And go. So we're stretching to pull those knees apart and back. And again, you've got control over the intensity here by actively clenching those glutes. And for those of you that have been practicing your
I'll buy some more tomorrow.
exercises,
I'll buy more spinach tomorrow. I'll buy new tomorrow. Don't worry. I'll buy a new one tomorrow.
what's that, David?
No, sorry. I thought I might. No, I thought I was.
Oh, you thought you were on mute.
Sorry.
That happens. So those of you that have been doing your toe exercises, you might notice your toes gripping into the ground as you clench those glutes. That's a really good thing. You've got that connection built. There's that stability there. That's awesome. And rest. Okay, so while we're giving those glute muscles a bit of a break, just put your band to the side, and this time you need your weight.
Wait.
Just one weight in one hand. Unless the weight you have, you're not comfortable pushing up with one hand, in which case you can hold that one weight with both hands, okay? Now this is gonna be another one where we switch after 30 seconds. So take your weight, you're starting it at the shoulder. Now we're gonna push it up. Actually, we're gonna hold it out wide. Unless it doesn't like that position, then you're holding in front. We are gonna slowly press it up and lift up our opposite knee.
Oh, yeah?
Down,
Oh, yeah.
2, 3, and again, as best you can, up. And again, that's multiple body parts. So if you're adjusting your intensity today, we'll just focus on that arm, up. And then it's a down, 2, 3, up, down, 2, 3, up, down, 2, 3, up, down, 2, 3, and up, down, 2, 3. Switch sides. And again, only go within the range that feels good for you. And up, down, 2, 3, and up. And when I say feels good for you, it's allowed to be uncomfortable, just not painful or sore. Up, down, 2, 3, 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 switch, and up, down, 2, 3, 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 and switch. And up, down, 2, 3, 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 up and down, 2, 3, rest. Woo! Well done, team.
Oh, do you notice that we get sassier toward the end?
You get sassier.
Oh, in terms of the class, I think we all get a little more sassy as we get more tired.
Yeah,
We can do, yeah.
I thought that was your way of trying to extend the break time.
Oh, that,
And you know, Karen, I hope you notice I've gotten a little more immune to it.
take
We'll
it.
try harder, Jill.
You gotta work a little bit harder at, stalling me and extending the breaks. All right, team, making sure the focus now is really on that recovery position. Get into breathing, but get into that recovery position if you need to. Okay, making sure you can still maintain that full breath on your inhale, and we're still breathing out through pursed lips. We are going to, let's actually stretch down one arm, stretch the other up. Because good news, it's now stretch time. So that means chatting is now free game.
Nothing to say.
We're too tired.
Hey, gang, we gotta find that person that's giving Jill those bad drugs, who's causing nightmares in her instructions there.
And slowly switch.
Called the internet, isn't it?
Nope.
She has time to be on the internet, looking at the internet.
No, oftentimes that kind of stuff, I'm just making it up as we go.
That's awesome.
So Jill, you do 12 classes a week on the Zoom. Are they all the same or do you vary each and every one of them?
There's some similarities, especially if I get on a trend of a certain exercise, so in a week, if I'm really on the track of, we need to be strengthening those hips,
Right.
Most of the classes that week might do those, the band around the knees and pressing open. But there, quite a few of the classes are different levels, and I do teach based on so my other classes, this is my big group, and my smaller classes, I do spend a lot more time on the individual needs. That's the benefit of that smaller class. So really, I have, 4 or 5 different people doing completely different exercises, because one of them has a shoulder replacement, and one of them their back has flared up, and another is quite frail compared to the rest. So it's quite variable that way. So pull up that elbow, gently push it back.
Depends on your clientele, right?
Yeah, so this group, the key is inclusivity, making sure we're trying to do as many things as possible that you can adjust, so that everyone feels welcome, not just catering to, one level of the group. Got to make sure everyone feels like they can do it, that it's challenging yet doable. Switch arms.
That it is.
There we go. But my smaller groups, I have an easier time of going, okay, I know this person is doing this today while this person does this, and these 3 people are doing this, and
So tell me, on your Wednesday class, do you record that one also?
Yes, the Wednesday classes are also recorded. And now we're just trying to get titles for the education sessions so that when you look up the video on YouTube, it's a bit easier to find specific topics. Stretch one leg out in front of you, gang, reach towards your toes.
Because I cannot attend the Wednesday, but I do extra online and on YouTube. And I just enjoy your classes so much.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's Steph, right?
No.
A little bit far away. That's awesome to hear. I'm so glad you find them helpful.
Mhm.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good. Switch legs. Yeah, you know, it's really, really wonderful for me to see so many consistent faces. And of course, you're gonna have times where you can't make it. So when I say consistent, I don't mean every single class, but I regularly see you.
Mhm.
And that's just awesome because it's telling me, you know, that a lot of you are really making that effort, right, to do what you can, and you're enjoying it and you're finding it helpful. So that's really, really good to see.
Absolutely. Certainly helps me.
Good.
Two.
Definitely helps me too.
Awesome.
Me too.
Sure filled a void, Jill.
Yes, I think there was a big gap, and probably there's still certain gaps, but they're very good. Jill, I've also found they're very helpful. Yeah.
Good.
Definitely.
That's awesome. Bring that leg back and kind of underneath your chair or turn sideways. Yeah, that's really, really good feedback, gang. Thank you so much.
Well, one of the reasons I keep coming back is trying to help you get better at keeping time.
Well, Nancy, after about a year of you being in my classes, you know, I don't think it's helping.
No one ever said I give up easily.
Good. Yeah. Persistence. Switch leg.
I wanted that old white kitchen clock with the second hand that I threw out many years ago, and now that I just have digital. So,
I like being able to tell my transplant team that I'm doing exercises 3 days a week.
oh yeah, that sounds
That's
good.
awesome.
Amazed.
Really, really great.
I count fish 2 mornings a week in the creeks. And this has really helped me get in and out of the chest waders all the time.
Oh, hey.
Oh my,
Yeah.
They're hard to get in and out of.
Oh, yeah.
That has to be one of the most unique things I've ever heard.
me too.
I love it.
So how many fish were there this morning?
I counted, I count Tuesday and Wednesday mornings. And yesterday we only had 12 one-year-old cohos and 3 brand new cohos.
Oh,
But Tuesday we had 300 and some in a different place of the one-year-old cohos.
where is that?
I'm in Courtney
Wow.
on the island. And almost all our creeks have stream keepers that count the fish from April to June when they're going out to sea.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Really neat.
yeah.
We have the baby ones up here.
Mhm.
I just went to say the name of the creek that they funnel into. They come up through the Okanagan,
Mhm.
and so there's quite an attempt, you know, to raise the count there and to send all the babies out to the ocean. And then it's really interesting that 4th year, how many are coming back?
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm always glad to hear that.
up the Adams River, I believe it is.
Mhm.
Thank you, Jill.
Oh,
Thank you, Jill. Awesome as always.
Hey,